Breaking news, the Las Vegas Raiders have extended Maxx Crosby, and they have also signed Alex Cappa. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to break down everything that you need to know around both of these moves. One move, I absolutely love. The other move, I'm not going to lie, I don't understand it at all. But this is why you subscribe to the Raiders Report. When news happens, we keep you up to date. We got over 2,000 people watching this live, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that watch this video. I also want y'all to show love to Maxx Crosby, the man, the myth, the legend, whatever you want to call him. This dude is born a Raider. He's got it tatted on him. He's wanted to be a Raider for life, and I want y'all to spam those 98s down below, because by the Raiders making this deal happen, it tells me, it tells you that the Raiders are serious about keeping Maxx Crosby, Pete Carroll, and John Spytek all together, and that they are serious about trying to win this upcoming season. So the deal that ends up going down, Crosby is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the National Football League. It is a 3-year, $106.5 million extension that includes $91.5 million in guarantees. The 3-year extension, 3 years is the deal that Pete Carroll ended up signing with the Raiders. John Spytek signed a 5-year deal. Because it is a 3-year extension, Maxx Crosby's entire deal now is 5 years, about $150 million. So it ties him to Pete Carroll, it ties him to John Spytek, but also the fact that the Raiders were able to do this move, it is going to free up salary cap space. One of the videos that I did a few weeks ago was talking about how the Raiders could free up close to $40 million in salary cap space. The Raiders already cut Minshew. That's going to free up a little bit of money. But because they gave the extension to Crosby and because they gave him the amount of guarantees that they gave him, it's going to free up salary cap space this year, and it's going to free up some space next year. Sure, this contract's going to be backloaded, but Crosby already had 3 void years in 2027, 2028, and in 2029 on his contract. So all this does for the Raiders is it keeps Crosby on your team for the long haul, but it also ties him to the Raiders on a cheaper overall cap space hit for this upcoming season. And if anybody's going to sit up here and say this isn't a good move for the Raiders, you don't know ball. Yes, you had to pay him heavily. And yes, he is the highest paid player now that is not a quarterback. I get it. 7.5 sacks last season didn't go the way that he wanted. It also did not go the way that the Raiders were wanting. But the reason why you had to make this deal is because what you cannot afford to happen is you cannot afford to lose your fan base. You cannot afford to show all these other free agents out there that we don't do right by our players. Because I'll tell you this right now. I live down in Dallas, Texas. If the Raiders would not have given Maxx Crosby a contract extension and they would have let him walk, I think Raiders fans would have turned on the Raiders very similar to the way that you've seen Mavericks fans kind of turn on Mavs and Nico Harrison because of their love for Luka. The Raiders showed today that they are a loyal franchise to Crosby. And when you see some of these big-name free agents, right, if you want to go out and you want to get a guy like DK Metcalf, he's going to want loyalty. You want to go out and get a guy like Christian Wilkins, he's going to want loyalty. And the Raiders did that today. They showed they are loyal to Maxx, and any big-name free agent is now going to know, you know what? That's a loyal-ass franchise, and if I go out there and I ball for them and I do everything that they ask me, which is what Crosby has done, because he is the heart and soul of this team, and I am happy that he is a Raider for the foreseeable future, because it also means the Raiders are serious about trying to win football games right now. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, make sure those notifications are turned on, because if you're not excited about Maxx Crosby getting this contract extension done, man, I mean it. You need to go check your pulse. This is a great, great move for the Raiders, and I'm really excited about Crosby. A lot of people are going to ask, Mitch, does this mean that we're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers? I'll tell you this, the fact that the day after the Raiders, all the rumors around Rodgers, Maxx Crosby gets his deal done, Crosby's definitely got a say. But at the same time, just because they ink Crosby to a deal does not mean that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the next quarterback. He's at least going to be in the consideration. I would say the next move that the Raiders could potentially do today would be bringing back, if you will, Robert Spillane. Because I did get a text message earlier today that said keep an eye out for Spillane. And the fact that, Maxx Crosby got that deal done, big-time stuff. But I mean, What's amazing, if you want to see the video around whether or not I would want the Raiders to bring in Aaron Rodgers, here's a video that I dropped bright and early this morning. Chugs and I came in today at like 7 a.m. to get this bad boy done. Check it out. It's a hell of a thing. It also talks about the moving on from Minshew, the Joe Thuney trade around the Chiefs, and a player that the Raiders did end up re-signing. That video is going to be down in the comments and in the description of today's show. I also got to show some love to our sponsor here, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there, and it is PrizePicks. It's easy, it's exciting, it's daily fantasy sports made easy, and PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Also, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And you know what? The Raiders are going to try to run their game by pounding the rock, and we'll see if Alex Cappa can help them do that. He was signed to a 2-year, $11.2 million deal today for the Silver and Black, including $5.5 million guaranteed. The reason why Cappa is joining the Las Vegas Raiders is because of his connection with John Spytek. And he was with Spytek from 2018 to 2021. He's also started in 50 of 51 possible games. I'll say this, though. Obviously, I'm not thrilled about the move around Cappa, but when you look at the contract, don't look at it so much as a 2-year, $11.2 million deal. I would look at it as more as a 1-year, $5.5 million deal that is a prove-it deal. Because if Cappa is good, they'll just keep him on the roster, and they'll essentially just pay him again about $5.5 million the following year. If Cappa is bad this season, they're just going to cut ties, and they are going to move on from the veteran offensive lineman. So I want you to get your red pens out. At the beginning of today's show, I said the Raiders did something that I loved, and they did something that I hated. This is going to be the move that I'm not crazy about. A, B, C, D, or F. I want you to grade the move around the Raiders bringing in Alex Cappa. This is a D move for me, and the reason why I'm going to give it a D grade is because he was arguably the worst starting offensive lineman in the National Football League last season. I mean, in 1,132 snaps, he had a 50.5 overall PFF grade, pass blocking grade of 39.7, a run blocking grade of 54.9, 8 sacks allowed, 2 penalties. Cappa, I get it, has that experience with John Spytek, but since he sustained that injury, which happened a few years ago, he just has not even been close to the same player. I mean, you're talking about a dude that had 36 hurries. Some people have him down with almost 51 total hurries, if you look at some people out there from Cappa. He got exploited last season on the Cincinnati Bengals, and for a team like the Bengals, that they need to be able to protect Joe Burrow. One of the very first moves that they did this offseason was move on from Cappa. I know the connection to John Spytek and Tom Brady, which is why this deal ended up going down. But when you give a player $5.5 million guaranteed and 2 years at $11.2 million, that's borderline starter money, and it's borderline fringe starter money. I would say that this deal kind of reminds me of what the Raiders did last offseason when they went out and they signed Cody Whitehair. And quite frankly, if you're a Raiders fan, that's kind of how you should feel about the move of Cappa. It's a Cody Whitehair type of deal. And I'll be real, I don't want Cappa anywhere near my starting offensive line. He's not good enough to start. I'd rather you start Jordan Meredith if we're being 100% honest here. What it does do, though, it provides a little bit more depth. Andres Pete, Cody Whitehair, both players are going to be out the door. And then when you see a lot of those other names on the screen, right? JPJ, young. Dylan Parham, young. DJ Glaze, young. Thayer Munford, young player. Jordan Meredith, young player. You bringing in Alex Cappa, I'm hoping, is a overpay for a backup offensive lineman. That, to me, is best case scenario. You are overpaying for a backup. If it's week 1, and Alex Cappa walks out there onto the starting field, and he's planning on starting, I will be very disappointed in the Las Vegas Raiders doing this move. Also, we will be dropping another video coming up here shortly on the Raiders report. It's not going to be in this one. The next video I put out, let's say it's an hour from now. I don't know. Could it be even sooner? We're going to talk about Tyler Lockett being released by the Seahawks because he's already been linked to the Raiders. And then DK Metcalf requested a trade. We're going to talk about what that could potentially look like from a trade and overall standpoint here on the Raiders report. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notices are on. I promise you, this week, next week, it's going to be crazy.